By the way, Irene, no vaccinations for none of these babies, okay? And that caused a lot of issues, family and friends, a lot of criticisms, but they've been perfectly healthy. Sons have not been circumcised or genitally mutilated, okay? I was, and I also had the vaccines, but the idea is you want to do better for the next generation, okay? They've also been raised vegan too, by the way, so they haven't had any like dairy or, yeah, okay.
The doctor's been running tests. They did an ultrasound yesterday. And then today we have to take them to the hospital. They're going to do CT scans. I gotta go. We're going to take him to the hospital now. If you can pray for my son and pray for my family, I appreciate it. But we are going to need y'all support, your emotional support. There's other things too. You know, I've been working my job. I've been putting in, you know, crazy hours. I think the week before last, I did 54 hours, and the week before that, I did 48 or 49. And you know, we had this plan. My wife and I, we had this real beautiful plan. And things were really turning around for us. And part of that plan was to make sure that we had everyone covered with health insurance. And we were working towards that, but
you see, the interesting thing I was thinking about 2 days ago was, you know, someone would argue, well, yes, there must be a system in place that controls people, that keeps people in line so they won't do harmful things to other people, and they won't. That's why we have law, and I understand that. But for those of us who have come into a level of spirituality, we recognize that there are spiritual laws that govern the universe that will not allow us to harm people in the first place. So the need for such individuals to be governed, i.e. mind controlled, is not necessary. Such individuals who have come into that level of understanding and spiritualization, where they will not harm other people, they don't need to have a state sanction their marriage. They don't have to have the state sanction the birth of their child, i.e. birth certificate. You got to sign a birth certificate now? What is that? Why? That's part of the control network. And it puts the parent in a position, a subservient position to an authority figure, and the authority figure being the state. Some cases, the authority figure being the doctors who works on behalf of the state, who wants you to sign that paper, because that's a contract. Everything is based upon this business model, but it's not based upon spiritual principle. There's a difference. So part of the reason why my wife and I, we decided for our last 3 children, we didn't get Social Security numbers. And we won't be doing that. If our children want to do that when they turn a particular age, they can do that for themselves. But we must allow them sovereignty.
We couldn't wait any longer with James, so we went ahead and took him in. And right now, we don't have health insurance for him. So the financial hit is going to be serious. We're talking with a social worker too. They're at the hospital, and they're going to be helping us to see what they can do.
We're adults. See, part of the spiritualization and the spiritual process, when we talk about the spiritualization of the human being, is to cause the human being to come into a high level of personal responsibility on every level, including creation itself. When we create one of these wonderful babies, to get to a point in our lives where we lay claim to every single experience related to that.
So the financial hit is so heavy, but it's going to be heavy. So I haven't talked to my wife about this yet, but I'm thinking about putting up a crowdfunding for my son, because we're going to need some help. He's 6.
don't know, that Friday we did get a call from the hospital, and our son James is cancer free. That was a huge relief for my wife and I. We're going to be going back on this coming Friday for a post biopsy checkup, and then they'll be talking with us about treatment options. And what he's been diagnosed with is called a benign fibroadipose lesion. It's not life-threatening, and the doctor told us that it won't require long-term care, and that there are options. Surgery is an option. I looked online too, because it's considered to be rare. I looked online and there's other options too. But on Friday, he'll talk with us and let us know exactly what the options are and timeline and all that kind of stuff.
I want to update everyone. That's where everything is at, and I'm gonna go in today and talk with my boss that's for my shift. He's probably the fourth guy in charge here. I'll talk with him and let him look, man. I'm gonna go ahead and put in that resignation next week, and then we'll let the chips fall where they may. Everything will work out in the end, so long as we, as men, as husbands and fathers, so long as we put our families first. I'm even taking this job. It was necessary. We're based upon where we were at 10 months ago, but at this point, it's actually taking away from the quality of my family's life. The doctor wanted to have already done the operation on his back, but we're waiting till after James's birthday, and his birthday is actually on Monday, so that's coming up. He'll be turning 7. After the birthday, we'll talk with the doctor, and we'll see when we can schedule the surgery on his back.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Whoa, keep going, keep going. Almost. He got one more.
There you go. Good job. When we had the conversation, he says, I don't think that surgery is necessary right now. Down in Biopsy, they actually want us to do the surgery because they want to take it out. They want the whole mass so they can study it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay, they probably want to do that because, they...
Scientific inquiry.
Okay, we understand that, but is it necessary? And he says, I don't think that it's really necessary right now, but I would like for you guys to come in and we can sit down and talk. So
Yesterday we went in
and talk.
and what he told us was that there's no need to even have it removed anytime soon. He said just keep getting your paperwork together so that you don't have to deal with the insurance at the last minute. He said make sure you have everything in order. He said we could wait a year if we wanted to. He said from today, a year from today, and do the surgery, and it wouldn't make any difference. Because at the pace that the lesion is growing on James's back, it's not life-threatening. It's not causing any problems with his rib cage.
It's localized too. It hasn't spread or anything.
It hasn't
like
spread
that.
to any other part of his body, and it's not causing him any discomfort. So there's no need to have it.
But that's the one thing.
But
he says,
to monitor it.
Yeah, he says we'll monitor, and he says that if there's any point where it actually becomes painful for him or is causing discomfort, then we'll take another look and see whether or not we need to update on when we would do a surgery. But for him to say that it's not necessary now, immediate surgery isn't necessary now, that if, basically he cleared our minds, like, okay, everything's okay right now.
My wife and I, we had this real beautiful plan, and part of that plan was to make sure that we had everyone covered with health insurance. We were working towards that, but we couldn't wait any longer with James, so we went ahead and took him in.
It's not causing him any discomfort, so there's no need to have it.
But that's the one thing.
But
he says,
to monitor it.
Yeah, he says we'll monitor, and he says that if there's any point where it actually becomes painful for him or is causing discomfort, then we'll take another look.
Well, initially, we went to the doctor because James had been complaining of he has a lump on his back, and he'd been complaining that it was hurting.
I'm going to start doing live streams again. And I know a couple of weeks back, it's been more than a couple of weeks, I told people that I put in my 2-week notice for my job. I did let that job go. Young man, if you're in your 20s, there's nothing wrong with working those 60 hours or 65 hours. If you're doing 50, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're earning your living and you're doing what you got to do. But I want you to also, in the background, at least in your mind, you need to be thinking beyond those 60 hours, because there's a whole lot of other things that you can do where you'll be earning a whole lot more money than you are currently working 50 hours or 60 hours or whatever it may be, and you can make that money in half the time or a quarter of the time.